The air in the apartment felt wrong, heavy with a silence that pressed against my chest like a bruise. I stood in the kitchen, the cold edge of the counter biting into my palms, staring at the half-empty bottle of red wine she'd left open last night. Her words echoed in my skull, sharp and jagged. "Forget about intimacy today, Jake. I've been touched a lot." She'd said it with a laugh, light and fleeting, as she kicked off her heels and collapsed onto the couch, her auburn hair spilling over the cushions like spilled ink. But something in her voice, too casual, too rehearsed, clawed at me, a splinter I couldn't dig out. I poured coffee, the gurgle of the machine loud in the stillness, and tried to shake the feeling. It was nothing, I told myself. Lila was a physical therapist. Her hands were always on someone. Kneading shoulders, guiding limbs, steadying hesitant steps. Touch was her job. But the way her eyes had darted away when she spoke, the way her fingers lingered on her phone before she tucked it into her bag, it felt like a secret she was daring me to uncover. The morning light sliced through the blinds, painting the hardwood floor in stripes of gold and shadow. I moved to the living room, where her scarf lay crumpled on the armrest, its floral scent faint but sharp enough to sting. We'd been together 3 years, long enough to know the rhythm of each other's silences, but this one was different. It wasn't the quiet of comfort. It was the kind that hit something, like the pause before a storm breaks. "Morning," Lila called from the bedroom, her voice bright but frayed at the edges like she was trying too hard. She emerged, wrapped in a gray sweater that hung loose on her frame, her face flushed from sleep or something else. "You're up early." "Couldn't sleep," I said, my gaze flicking to her hands as she adjusted her hair. Her nails, usually bare, were painted a deep crimson. New. Unfamiliar. "Long day yesterday?" She froze just for a second, then smiled. "Yeah, exhausting. Back-to-back clients. My hands are killing me." She flexed her fingers and I noticed a faint bruise on her wrist, small but vivid, like a thumbprint pressed too hard into her skin. My stomach twisted. "Rough session?" I asked, keeping my tone light, but my eyes stayed on that mark. She tugged her sleeve down, a quick practice motion. "Some patients grip harder than they mean to," she said, turning to the fridge. "You want eggs?" I didn't answer. The bruise wasn't the kind you get from a patient's clumsy grasp. It was deliberate, intimate. My mind raced, stitching together fragments, her late nights at the clinic, the way she'd started locking her phone, the faint scent of cologne on her coat last week, one I didn't recognize. I wanted to dismiss it, to laugh at myself for being paranoid, but doubt had taken root, spreading like ink in water. We ate in silence, the clink of forks against plates too loud. Every bite tasted like ash. Lila scrolled through her phone, her thumb moving too fast, like she was avoiding something. I watched her, searching for the woman I'd fallen for, the one who'd laughed until she cried when I burned our first attempt at homemade pizza, who'd held my hand through my dad's funeral, her grip steady when mine shook. That woman felt like a ghost now, replaced by someone who couldn't meet my eyes. "You okay?" she asked suddenly, her voice cutting through the fog in my head. Her green eyes flicked up, searching mine, and for a moment, I thought I saw guilt there, raw and unguarded. "Yeah." I lied, my throat tight. "Just tired." She nodded, but her gaze lingered, like she was weighing whether I believed her. The air between us crackled with unspoken questions, and I hated how much I wanted to ask them. Instead I stood, clearing my plate. "I'm heading to the office early. Got a deadline." "Okay," she said too quickly. "I've got a late session tonight, so don't wait up." The words landed like a punch. Another late night. I grabbed my keys, my fingers trembling, and left without looking back. The hallway smelled of damp carpet and regret, and as I stepped into the elevator, I felt the weight of her absence already. Work was a blur of emails and meetings, but my mind stayed in that apartment, replaying her words, her glances, that bruise. By noon I couldn't stand it. I opened my laptop, my hands shaking as I logged into our shared cloud account. We'd synced our calendars years ago, a practical thing for coordinating schedules. Hers was packed with client names, color-coded and neat. But one entry caught my eye. "Session with T at 7 p.m. No last name, no details, just a single letter. My pulse hammered. She'd never abbreviated clients like that before. I told myself it was nothing. Typo. A new patient. But my fingers moved before my brain could catch up, pulling up her email. I'd never snooped before, and the guilt burned, but I needed to know. Most of her inbox was mundane bills, appointment confirmations, but one thread, buried in a folder labeled work, stopped me cold. No subject line, just a chain of messages with someone named Tyler. The latest one sent last night. Can't stop thinking about you. Same time tomorrow. My vision blurred, the words searing into me. I clicked through the thread, each message a knife. You make me feel alive again. Jake doesn't suspect anything. My name, stark and betraying, stared back at me. I wanted to scream, to throw the laptop across the room. But I just sat there, frozen, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out the office hum. I don't remember driving home. The apartment was empty, Lila's gym bag gone. I stood in the living room, the silence suffocating, and saw her phone charger on the coffee table. She'd forgotten it. My hands moved on instinct, grabbing it, unplugging it, as if that small act could unravel the truth. But then I saw it, a folded piece of paper tucked under the couch, barely visible. I knelt, my fingers brushing the rough edge, and pulled it out. It was a receipt from a hotel bar downtown, dated last week. 2 drinks paid with her card. The timestamp, 10 p.m. when she told me she was working late. My knees buckled and I sank to the floor, the paper crumpling in my fist. The betrayal wasn't a suspicion anymore. It was real, tangible, a weight I couldn't carry. When Lila came home that night, I was waiting. The receipt sat on the counter, a silent accusation. She stopped short, her eyes widening, then narrowing as she saw it. Jake, what? Who's Tyler? My voice was low, steady, but it trembled with everything I was holding back. Anger, heartbreak, the desperate hope I was wrong. Her face crumpled just for a moment before she straightened. A client, she said, but her voice cracked. Jake, you're being ridiculous. Then why's his name in your email? I stepped closer, the receipt burning in my hand. Why's he saying he can't stop thinking about you? She flinched, her breath hitching, and in that moment I knew. The truth was a blade, cutting through every excuse, every rationalization. She didn't deny it. She just stood there, tears welling, her hands twisting together like she could wring out the guilt. I didn't mean for it to happen, she whispered, and the words broke something in me. It was a mistake, Jake. I swear I love you. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But love doesn't leave bruises that don't belong to you. It doesn't hide behind locked phones and late nights. I turned away, my chest tight, and walked to the door. I need time, I said, my voice barely audible. As I stepped into the night, the cold air biting my skin, I realized the twist wasn't her betrayal. It was mine. Because in my pocket, crumpled and heavy, was a letter I'd written weeks ago, confessing my own doubts, my own moments of weakness, with a coworker who'd listened when Lila stopped. I hadn't sent it. I hadn't acted on it. But the guilt was there, just as real, just as damning. We'd both been breaking, and neither of us had seen it until it was too late.